All right, let's dive in. You hear the word neuroweapon, and you probably think sci-fi, right? Like something straight out of a movie. But what if I told you the real story, the secret search to weaponize the human mind, is not only true, but it's way older and honestly a lot more disturbing than you can probably imagine.
Okay, so first things first, what are we even talking about here? What is a neuroweapon? Well, putting it simply, it's any tech that's designed to be used against the human mind. We're talking about systems that can compromise you mentally, disable your ability to think straight, or even, and this is the really scary part, alter your behavior. And look, this isn't just some wacky theory from the fringes. The Department of Defense, the DoD, officially considers the human mind a modern battle space. Just think about that for a second. That completely changes what warfare even means. Now, it's easy to assume this is all a recent thing, right? A product of our digital age, born from things like AI and cybernetics. But what if the whole idea has nothing to do with Silicon Valley? What if the real story, the origin story, starts much, much earlier, in some of the absolute darkest moments of the 20th century? So let's follow that trail back. The real story, it turns out, doesn't start with computers at all. It starts with the rise of totalitarian states right after World War I. I mean, think about it. These were regimes obsessed with total control. And what's more total than controlling the very thoughts inside people's heads? And what's crazy is that two separate, secret research tracks popped up at almost the exact same time. One was in the brand new Soviet Union, and the other in Nazi Germany. Two totally different places, but they were both chasing the exact same prize, a weapon that could conquer the human mind. Okay, let's start with the Soviets. We're going back to the 1920s. Soviet scientists got completely obsessed with this really bizarre and pretty radical idea. They asked themselves, could the human brain be controlled, like a radio, with invisible ways? So a key figure in all this was a researcher named B.B. Kaczynski, and he had this theory he called biological radio. His big idea was that our nervous system isn't just for, feeling things. He thought it was also a natural transmitter and a receiver, that it could literally send and pick up thoughts using electromagnetic waves. And this wasn't just some guys scribbling in a notebook. No way. They were actually doing experiments. They were actively trying to remotely plant thoughts, images, even emotions in people's heads. Get this. Their most famous tests claimed they successfully sent sleep and wake commands to someone over 1,700 kilometers away. And apparently, it worked. From there, the theories just got wilder. Kaczynski eventually suggested that the human eye itself could be a weapon, that it could shoot out these rays of vision and influence your thoughts and feelings just by looking at you. I mean, can you imagine? All right, so that's the Soviet track. But at the same time, over in Germany, something else was happening. A completely different kind of neuroweapon was being developed. This one had nothing to do with radio waves. It was all about weaponizing the science of psychology itself. You see, Germany had this world-famous place, the Leipzig School of Psychology. It was basically the birthplace of modern experimental psychology. But when the Nazis came to power, they took it over. It was completely co-opted and turned into what they called a Völkisch cell, basically a think tank for their nationalist ideology. And just like that, its entire mission changed, from understanding the mind to controlling it. One of the key things they looked into was a concept called actual genesis. It's a mouthful, I know. But in simple terms, it's the study of how our brain actually builds our perception of reality, step by step, from one moment to the next. And the military use for that? Well, it's pretty terrifyingly logical. If you know how someone builds their reality, you can figure out how to take it apart. And they were looking at everything. I mean, they were all over the map. They delved into pharmacology, pumping soldiers full of methamphetamines to create so-called super soldiers. The SS had its own unit investigating psychic powers. And believe it or not, the German Navy had a secret department that tried to find Allied ships using pendulums and clairvoyance. This stuff was so top secret that most of the records were torched before the war was even over. But they didn't get rid of everything. Take a look at this. It's a declassified NSA document from 1967. And what it shows is American intelligence poring over the work of a Nazi parapsychologist decades after the war. This right here is our smoking gun. It's the proof that the research didn't just vanish in 1945, it was captured. So that's the big question, isn't it? What happened to all of this secret research after the war ended? What happened to the scientists and to all that dangerous knowledge they had? Well, that is the real secret history we're talking about today. The truth is, the research wasn't destroyed, it was recruited. You might have heard of Project Paperclip. That was the secret program where the US brought hundreds of Nazi scientists over to work for them. And you can draw a straight line from that to the CIA's infamous mind control programs. First came Project Artichoke, and then the big one, MK Ultra. All of them used German scientists, and all of them were built directly on that early, really disturbing research we've been talking about. And that's really the heart of the story right there. The whole Cold War arms race to control the mind, it didn't just appear out of nowhere in the 1950s. Its roots were firmly planted in the secret labs of the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany, decades before anyone was even talking about the Cold War. Which of course leaves us with one last, pretty unsettling question. All that early stuff, that foundational work, that happened in secret more than 80 years ago with the technology of the 1930s. So you have to wonder, with all the technology we have today, what kind of research is happening in secret right now?